Communism 101.
Yeah.
And Americans fall for it because you have no track record.
Yeah.
So we Lithuanians, we know what it is because we're former
lived
Soviet
it.
Union. Yes,
lived it.
my parents lived. He remembers everything. He remembers the times when you couldn't tell a joke about Stalin.
Wow.
You couldn't. Because if you, being my neighbor, you hated me, you could even lie. You could call the police, the militia at that time, and you could say, so Apollo was telling this joke about Stalin, offensive joke. They would come and ask questions. That's the real deal.
So you mean like what they were doing in LA by giving an award for snitching on your neighbor for not wearing a mask?
Yes.
Right? Or getting together in groups?
For example, we live in the Soviet Union. We're co-workers with you, right? But you have the higher position, and I hate you. I want your position. I'm going to call the police, and I'm going to tell you. So this guy, he's a capitalist. He doesn't love communism. He doesn't like Lenin, and he jokes about Stalin and Lenin. They're going to take you out. You're going to lose your job. They're going to call your employer and tell, hey, this Nick works for you? Yes. He's not working for you anymore. Those are real stories. Those are real. This is what communism was, but that was communism, I want to say 1.0, maybe 1.5. Then we have China 2.0, right? But this is what they are trying to implement here in the US. That's communism 3.0. This 100 years ago in the Soviet Union, if you had a farm and you raised cattle, you had sheep, cows, and chicken, right? You had your own farm. When communists arrived, especially during the war, they said, no. Now we have collective farms. Mm-hmm. You have 10 cows, 5 of which you deliver the milk, you deliver it to us for the sake of the country. That's what is collectivism. Mm-hmm. You have no idea what it is like. Read the freaking books, socialists, liberals. Read the books from the people that lived in Soviet Union.
Yeah, no individual liberty.
No.
Right.
No.
And our Constitution says that we have fundamental rights, inalienable rights, which means like from God, right? And we were a country that's born from Judeo-Christian values, and people just want to erase history and forget the fact that we have those inalienable rights, and that it is our inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Right? And that we have individual freedoms that cannot be infringed upon, but they are. And like, I don't want to be a communist country. I don't want to live like a slave. I refuse to be a slave, right? And that's why kind of in the beginning of this, I said that I firmly believe that freedom is an illusion that was really proven to us in 2020. And I think a lot of people really woke up to a Marxist communist agenda that we're now seeing coming into fruition. Like, I can't believe that we live in a time where the state says what we get to know or not get to know regarding our children.
Drive,
yeah.
For instance, just what car to drive.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can't, like you have to drive electric. Like you had to save the world. It's a shame.
Talk to China. Talk to Russians.
Yeah.
They should do that as well. But you know what people don't realize as well? So with communism comes no progress. You can't tell me what communist Russia, the Soviet Union, or communist China invent.
Right.
Everything that China does, they copy from the West.
Exactly.
Everything that Soviet Union did, okay, the atomic bomb, they say that they stole the technology. Mm-hmm. So they went to space. Okay, so what about their cars? Automotive industry. There are no Russian cars that you would like to drive. No computers, no cell phones, nothing. No iPads, no MacBooks, no cameras. You can't name me a single company of a Russian or post-Soviet Union company that produces cameras. None. They don't do shit. All they do is copy. There's no progress in communism. I wonder why. Because everyone that was pretty smart and they had some ideas, they went to the West. They fled the country. They fled to the U.S. and here they established the biggest companies that we know right now. Because of the capitalism, the free market.
You're reminding me of like words of Milton Friedman, right? And Milton Friedman talked about capitalism and socialism and communism and he went on to say in a famous discussion that the world's greatest inventions were really born from people's individual ideas and the liberty that they had to create the light bulb, and Ford, who revolutionized the automobile industry. And it didn't come from government bureaucrats.
Yes.
It didn't come from the government. These inventions came from individual people who had the liberty to create, right? And at any point in history throughout the Industrial Revolution or some of the greatest inventions that brought us technology that changed the way that we live didn't come from government. It came from us. And at the end of the day, there is no system that has ever been able to root out periods of time like the Depression than capitalism. That capitalism has been the answer to every civilization's ability to grow and to prosper.
But not the crony one. Not the crony capitalism.
Right. Right. Exactly. But true capitalism, free market,
yes.
Right? The ability to make money and to grow a company or to have the ability to not have recessive taxes that hinder or stunt job creation or job growth. True capitalism and the ideas that are in the free market enterprise is what has allowed the United States to become the most powerful nation in the world. And at every event in history, when we see communism take over, it starts the immediate decline of a nation.
And violence.
Violence, absolutely. And that violence, this is what kind of a system they're creating. At what point do the masses wake up and understand that communism is here? These people, these politicians, whether it's at the state level or at the federal level, that promote this, they truly hate America. They do not like individual freedom. They do not like capitalism, right? And we know that because of what they're doing to ensure that communist principles and Marxism takes over our nation. And this isn't just economic. It is in it is in our social fabric of our country. It is the fight and war against religion. It is the war against the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment from unreasonable searches and seizures by government. We're seeing a weaponized system of justice rather than an equal justice under the law or the rule of law or, how about just the general respect for the Constitution being violated every single day by Rob Bonta, Gavin Newsom, Tony Thurman, people who have no reverence for the rule of law or respect for the people that they claim that they're representing. These people truly want chaos and anarchy, and they are right now succeeding in delivering it right to your front door. And at the end of the day, people have to understand that the only way to make this go away is to get out and vote. The people are so hyper-focused on presidential election, they were constantly in a perpetual cycle of watching a presidential election. And what they have to do is immediately stop and realize the one thing that's most important. It is your state legislature who has a direct impact on your everyday life, because those are the people that you're electing that write laws, that write legislation in every aspect of business and regulation, and that it touches everything. It touches education. It touches food, taxes. It's your state legislature that you need to hold accountable. And if everyone just pulled all their state legislature and looked at their voting record and truly understood what those things meant, they might just get sick right away and understand, like, these people do not care about us. And if we want a future, it's time to get civically involved. I mean, it's our duty to vote. It's our duty to understand. At the end of the day, we got to call a timeout. We have got to. Everyone needs to take a time out and start to prioritize our lives and make this election the most important, because I think we're there. I honestly believe this is the most important election of our lifetime, and it's going to define
Not
everything.
only the whole world.
The whole whole
world.
The whole 100%.
If you go full-time communism,
yeah,
that's it. Done. Europe is going to be done in 5 years. Canada is already communist.
Yeah.
Mexico with the new socialist president.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, I mean, and think about it, right? The United States has typically been the leader of the world,
Yes.
right? People look to the United States for leadership. They look to the United States for everything, trends, technological advancements, culture, everything, right? But we're leading the world into the ground right now. And I think that people who have been around long enough in this country are absolutely devastated, and they know they're heartbroken. I'm heartbroken. This is so hard to see and watch. I mean, they're teaching kids in school that, you know, you can be anything you want to be. And you know, all joking and kidding aside, this is so dangerous because they're poisoning the minds of our children that are our future. They're our most important investment. And when you lie to kids and you tell them that if they feel like they can be an opposite sex, that's okay, and we're going to help you transition, and we're going to give you puberty blockers, and if your parents don't support you, we're going to take you from your parents. Just come with us. You know, we have a nice, happy place for you.
Just try not buying a new iPhone for your son. He's going to be mad at you, and he's going to tell to his teacher,
right? I
want to be a girl.
Yeah.
Don't tell my dad. He hates me.
Right.
He doesn't love me.
Right. And they're facilitating this and they're encouraging this. And, like there used to be a thing, which still exists, but we don't forget, like taxation without representation. You know, we're being taxed in oblivion, but we've lost our voices. So what kind of system is that? You can't speak. You can't voice concerns. Your voice doesn't matter. The government's just going to do whatever you want, but we're going to give us your money. That's not a republic. We've lost it. We've lost it. So this election cycle is critically important, and it's true of every race. It's true of the local, state, and federal level. But for people in California, they've got to look at their assembly members and they've got to get out and vote, because I'm not a puppet and I can't be controlled. And if I'm elected, my job is to represent the people. Like, my job isn't to go line my pockets with special interest groups and then tell my constituents, have a nice day. Because that's what our politicians right now are doing.
Do you know how I know that you're not a puppet? Because you came by. You came and you did a 2-hour podcast without any scripts, right?
Yeah.
The other side will never do that, and they never do that. They will never do it to Joe Rogan's, to Tucker, to any other podcast. They will never do that. They will never talk to a person unscripted recording. Like, never. Why?
Yeah, because
you want transparency.
Yeah.
Be honest. For 2 hours,
Transparency.
no questions before.
Yeah.
You don't know the questions. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, never. They will never do that.
Because they don't have original ideas, because they're robots. They don't have, because they don't care. So they don't know. These people, look, my opponent doesn't even know what Prop 47 is. My opponent is hiding in her basement, sending out mailers. These people aren't serious.
Bro, who's the president of the U.S. at this moment?
I don't know.
Who is he and where is he?
I don't know.
Iran is almost attacking Israel.
Yeah, we're on the brink of...
Stock market is down.
It's crashing,
Who is the president of the U.S.?
I don't know. I don't know. And I mean that very seriously, Apollo. I don't know who's running the country. Because it sure isn't Biden, and it sure isn't Harris at all.
When's the state assembly elections?
November. It's the same as the presidential. Yeah. Yeah, it's and you know my race is District 53, and it represents Pomona, Ontario, Montclair, and Upland. Yeah, Chino, Pomona, Upland, Montclair, Ontario. But you know, if elected, and people say, well, you know, that's a District 53 thing. I live in LA. No, I typically would be representing everyone, because anything I do, anything I accomplish, anything I fight for affects everyone statewide.
You're going to do the precedent. If you fight back here, so he fought in the District 53. Maybe we could do it in our district.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yeah, and we have to help each other. Like, people track, you can track where the money comes from and where the money goes. You're not going to see special interest money in my election. You will never see me bought and paid for. And I want to be more accessible to my constituents and as involved and engaged with the community than the incumbent, who's now termed out, has ever been. I want people engaged. I want people to get fired up. I want people to have hope. I want people to remember that we have a state worth fighting for. I want to see people smile. I want to see people be able to keep their food. I want to see people be able to plan for their futures, for their children, for their families. I want to see people to start going on vacation. I want people to walk down the street, and I want to see their families happy. You know?
You've got this kind of a beautiful state, bro. The mountains, the ocean.
Everything.
The park, Yosemite Park, Lake Tahoe,
Everything.
Orange County, Malibu.
It's terrible.
Hundreds of places where
It's
you can
terrible
go
what they're doing. It's unbelievable. We take it for granted. We have so much beauty here.
Yes.
But what does the beauty matter if we can't live and enjoy it? I mean, really, what is it? What good is anything that California has to offer if we can't leave our homes because we don't have enough money for gas to drive somewhere or enjoy the time off? They're destroying our way of life. And this isn't a Republican thing. It's not a Democrat thing. There are just bad people that are running our state and that have run it into the ground. And it's time that we get that back, because that's who we are. We're to be bold. We're not supposed to cower.
So I love America. I was always dreaming of living here in the U.S. for 30 years. So as much as I remember myself being a kid watching the movies, I was like, I want to go to America, especially to California. And America, to me, was always about boldness, being bold men and women, about the freedom of speech, freedom of saying whatever you want, freedom of enterprise. You can create businesses here. Oh, wow. You can own a house. You don't have to live in an apartment like in a beehive, but you can get a house with a yard, with a lawn. Wow. You see those Grand Canyons, right? Or you go from California to Arizona, you see this road and vastness when you can't even see where it ends. You can go for 30 minutes and you can meet only 1 to 2 cars max. The vastness, the wideness of this country. The sky is so high here in the U.S. For everyone that has never been to the U.S., to the United States, you can't understand what I'm talking about. You have to visit the U.S. The sky is higher here in America. I don't know why. I love the people. 99% of people that I meet here, I love them. When I go to the church, when I go to the groceries, you smile. The cashiers smile. They put my groceries into a bag and they tell me, have a good one. You will never get this in Europe or in my country. I love America. I'm not the only one. Millions of people come to America every year. And when we see that spoiled brats Americans born and raised here hate this country and burn the flag, what is wrong with you? Get out. If you don't, just go out for a month. Go to Africa. Go to Europe. Go to Eastern Europe. See how is it like over there. But they're spoiled brats.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we have a lot to live for and a lot to fight for. And you have unique experiences that have given you a glimpse into, in your time here, it's caused for your own frustration, because you know what it's like to live in a tyrannical country. You know what it's like to live in communism, and you came here because you thought that this was a better place to be and to raise your family.
Yes. And you know what? So communism ended 30 years ago in Lithuania. We still feel it because my parents that are 50 plus years old, they know what it's like, and then they remember. They keep silent because if you be loud, they're going to get you. My grandparents that are 75, 80 years old, they still live in the communist country because they remember that. Don't be loud. Don't say anything. Don't protest. Don't tell your opinion. You're going to get arrested. You're going to get into troubles. You're going to get into troubles at your job. They're going to fire you. Don't say nothing. But the communism ended 33 years ago. 33 years ago. And it's still, the footsteps, the shadow of it, it's still instilled in Lithuanians.
I'm listening to you, and that's like, I wish more people had the same ability to express gratitude, to have gratitude for what they have in this country. I will tell you that it's been heartbreaking because, my parents have now both moved out of California, including my brothers, and they all moved to Texas because they can't afford to live here anymore. And for a slew of other reasons that we've already discussed, my whole family has moved out of this state. And so I'm committed to fight for those who are still here that need a voice. We need to give a voice to the voiceless, and we need to fight for people who just sometimes can't fight for themselves. I spent my whole profession as a police officer defending and protecting people that couldn't fight for themselves. And I want people to get very serious about who they send to Sacramento, because we need fighters in Sacramento. And we need people like you that are going to be able to keep using your platform and your voice and the way that you see the world through the lens that God has given you to help wake more people up and get them involved. Because these aren't just fun moments of talking points and social media stuff. Like this is all we have left. This is all we have left. And, if not now, when? Right? And I think that people just don't realize what they have, what's at stake, which is everything.
Amen. Brother, God bless you. God bless all your family.
God bless you.
Your kids and your future kids.
Thank you.
Bless everyone that is watching. Don't let communists take over.
We won't.